In a world whose hosts cried out for a replacement to Thunderdome. The Top 10 is proud to bring you the Relist.
Relist. Relist.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Relist.
Relist. Relist.
It's getting better, Matt. It's getting better. I like that.
It's good stuff. It's a ridiculous addition to that show, and I like that it's the only show we've used it for. You know what I mean?
I agree. That annoying sound should only be used sparingly, and that's a good show to
At
use
best.
it for. Yeah,
At best.
Agreed.
It's better to keep it at arm's length. Otherwise, you turn it to DJ Khaled, and suddenly we got 9 podcasters on this, all doing like a sentence or two apiece.
That's a good.
Yeah,
I like that.
it turns into what exactly are we selling at that point?
Right.
But we're here for the Relist, which is a show, if you're listening to this on our free feed.
Yep.
We do it over at patreon.com/the top 10. And people at a certain level, you get access to all kinds of perks, a shout out at the end of the month, Patreon exclusive content like our live Chicago show, old classic shows on Wednesdays. We throw it up, and then at another tier, you can jump in on the Relist. 3 random people get picked. The first one sets the topic. The next 2 submit their list for said topic.
Yeah.
And we go through, treat it like a regular show. We do not add or subtract any movies.
Nope.
And we just talk about their lists. And so I say we just jump right in.
Okay, let's do it. Who are the people involved in this thing?
The 3 chosen were, and our thanks to Christos Alexakos for helping us run this. It is a tremendous help, and we can't thank you enough, sir. Drew at random 3 names and came up with Mr. Ashley Prowse,
Yes.
who we met at the London show.
We did. He was great.
And
Surprised
the other
was a man. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I said to him. He was like, "Oh, I'm Ashley," and I'm like, "Prowse?" It was before the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." And then he told me after the show, he's like, "My wife was really impressed you knew my surname." And I'm like, "I don't know. I've only met one other male Ashley in my life.
Yeah.
Ashley Hamilton."
Oh.
Yeah, I knew him for a short stint in my life. I knew Ashley Hamilton. Nice enough guy. I don't really know him, all that well. We hung out a few times.
That's cool.
It was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to remember your last name when it's Ashley. It's very, Sunjayanth Fernando. I am going to remember Fernando because
Hell
your
yeah.
first name is Sunjayanth.
I mean, Jack, I'm going to remember.
Yeah. Well, you got three reminders.
Yeah.
And one of those, you know who you are, has some of the worst taste in music I've ever witnessed. Going to bat for things is just like, that's a guilty pleasure, and it's one you should feel shame for. So you might want to be a little quieter on that front.
Fair enough.
But anyway, so it was Ashley Prowse, Jason Bradshaw, and Drake Fromsdorf.
Yeah, Drake Fromsdorf. And they picked, Ashley Prowse picked the top 10 Danny DeVito movies.
Correct.
Danny DeVito. What do you know? The diminutive one. We're going to count down their
Is that what DeVito means in Italian?
I think so.
Oh, it translates actually to the diminutive one. Ah, how apropos. It's amazing.
It's also what I call Sam Levine. All right, Jason Bradshaw, Drake Fromsdorf. So we're each going to take one list. Neither of us have seen the other person's lists.
Correct.
And neither of us have actually seen these lists. So
No.
we're counting them down as you're listening to us count them down. We're seeing them for the first time as well. Are we doing the standard 3, 2, 5, the thing, or how are we doing?
Yeah, the regular bottom three,
Okay.
next two, one apiece.
There you go. All right, let's
We'll
do it.
rifle through. So Jason Bradshaw's says, "Thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity to participate in the Relist." I've been a fan of DeVito for a long time, from watching reruns of Taxi with my parents growing up, seeing some of the films below as a child. I didn't necessarily remember exactly how vast DeVito's filmography was, and this was a fun list to compile. There are obviously some films of his I have not seen, but I had a fun time prepping this list. I hold nothing back on my choices.
Oh.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Numero 10.
Wow.
Space Jam.
Space Jam. All right.
Space Jam. Does
like
he? Does Drake have Space Jam?
Oh, yeah. Let me take a look here. Space Jam is not on the list.
All right. Mr. Bradshaw says, this is admittedly a nostalgic choice, and Space Jam is the second movie I vividly remember seeing in the theaters as a 6-year-old. DeVito's voice work as the villainous Swackhammer is great, and his proclamation of, I don't know Dan Aykroyd, I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture upon Bill Murray's arrival. Slays me to this very day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's he's not the first guy that I go back to think of when I think of that film.
Yeah.
Of the actual human actors. It's,
Right.
Obviously it's the voice actors, but it's Jordan, and then I think of maybe Bill Murray, or I think of, Wayne Knight.
Yeah.
But DeVito does a great job.
Yeah.
It's a fun film.
Yeah, it's good.
Number 9 is Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh, also not on this list.
Also not on
surprisingly.
this list.
Wow.
All right.
Surprisingly. Okay.
Well, he says, I have a love for this film that I cannot really explain. You are in the minority. DeVito's chemistry with Billy Crystal is great, but this ranks a little lower on the list because to me, Anne Ramsey steals the film.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
She does. I've never had a fondness for this one.
Yeah, me either. It's not one I saw once. Once was enough.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've seen, a piece here, a piece there again over the years at some random points, but I've never gone back to sit down and actually rewatch it again.
Yeah.
I just remember kind of going, during the time. It's like, it's the mom from Goonies and Billy Crystal type of thing.
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, all right, okay, what is this? Throw Mama from the Train. Sure, that sounds fun. And then, to me now, it exists on some level in my head is, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh, wow. Oof.
It's not that bad,
Right.
But it's like this weird.
Yeah. It's in that kind of time.
Yeah. And in like the same place in those individuals' kind of canon of film, so to speak.
Fair enough. All right. What's the number 7?
Number 8.
Oh, sorry. Number 8
is Get Shorty.
Yes, that's this number 8 for is it Drake? Is it Drake
Yes.
Fromsdorf? Yeah, number 8.
All right, Jason just says the scene where DeVito has the back and forth with Travolta speaking with his eyes to convey his message is probably my favorite scene from the film.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still have that one line from Get Shorty in my head that Travolta says, "If you're important enough, they'll wait for you. Don't rush anywhere."
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I've never even thought of it that way. It was like a brilliant thing to say, because if you're worth it, they'll wait for you. And I was like, damn, all right, I like that.
I do like that scene because Rene Russo is just looking at this nothing but pomposity. Of
Yeah.
just you really got it because Travolta's, he'd be a good producer.
Oh yeah,
Telling DeVito exactly what he wants to hear. And he ends up, DeVito, starts driving a minivan and mimicking a little bit.
Yeah.
As a dude that he thinks is cool.
Right.
What is it, Chili Palmer?
Chili Palmer, yep.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I like that movie a lot.
Me too.
It's one of the Elmore Leonard ones that I think has translated well.
Yeah, agreed. It's such a great cast as well all around. Farina.
For James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini, right? Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman.
What's his name?
Bette Midler.
Luis Guzman. Yeah.
Yeah, Luis Guzman.
Yeah, Gene Hackman is great in that movie.
He is the producer. Yeah. Sit here. Don't offer him this other picture. Do this. Then he comes in as soon as within 3 sentences, he's already caved. It's so good. So good.
So good. What's your number 7? No, wait. I go my number 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 10 is Deck the Halls.
Rightly is not on his list.
Okay. Well, let me read his intro first. He doesn't have any intros for the movie. So this is all he says. Hey, John and Matt, thank you for the endless entertainment I listen to while at work or on the road. The banter between you guys is unmatched. I agree. I'm from Southeast Missouri, and I wanted to make it to the Chicago show, but ultimately did not make it. Maybe a St. Louis show could be in the future. I'm not big on DeVito. I've only seen like 12 of his movies, and maybe my age has something to do with that. I'm only 21, but I'm happy to be part of the realist. Thank you guys so much. God bless. All right, so number 10, Deck the Halls. Very nice words from Drake, by the way. I've seen this once. It was okay. Not really sticks in the memory at all in any way, shape, or form. So
I've literally seen the trailer.
Yeah, that's it.
And once I heard people that saw it.
Yeah.
And the utter look of forgettability on their face. Just like, I don't need to see it. There's so many Christmas movies.
Yeah.
It's just every year.
Yeah.
It's like, which ones are we going to watch? And then every 3 to 4 years, there's another one that enters the mix of that's a really good holiday film. That should start stacking up over time.
Yeah. Agreed.
So if you saw this at a certain pivotal moment in your life or a span, you know what I mean? If it was
Might be
6
worth
to
it.
12 or something.
Yeah.
It's like, we watched it so much. My family loves it.
Yeah.
It just never did that for me.
Yeah, fair. Agreed. Number 9 is Hercules.
That's a punt.
Yeah, all right, sure. Number 8 was Get Shorty, so we're back to you at 7.
7 is Matilda.
That is the 6 on his list, so there you go.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
This is a double dip, as this is a DeVito directed film.
Ooh.
He plays a great shady used car salesman and Matilda's father. Him and Rhea Perlman together in this movie are family film gold. This again plays on the nostalgia for me as I grew up reading the book by Roald Dahl.
Yeah, I agree.
Never read the book.
Oh, yeah. I read the book. I didn't see the movie. It was never, I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm
with
good.
you. Never saw the movie.
That being said, I've always enjoyed Rhea Perlman and Dan DeVito when they've worked together. I think they're divorced now, but when they worked together.
Yeah, it's a relatively recent, like in the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Because they were together since his Taxi days.
Long time. Yeah, exactly.
Like pre-Cheers for her.
Right.
So, 30-some odd years, they made it, and then eventually they're like, hey, I think they're still, it seems as though, and I don't follow celebrity culture at all.
Seems like amicable.
Yeah, as best I can tell.
Yeah.
But once again, I do not follow any of that stuff whatsoever.
All right, what's number 6?
My number 6 is Batman Returns.
Oh, that's a massive punt, apparently. So,
Okay.
On this list. So my number 7, or Drake's number 7, rather, is Twins.
That is a punt.
Okay. All right. What's your number 5? Because Matilda is 6 for him.
Right to the punt. Twins, baby.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Twins is there.
Beautiful segue.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us what Drake said.
He doesn't say anything. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't introduce any of the movies. He just lists them.
Listen, man, I love it. I love it. The brevity. Exactly. Some people are just like, let's just get to it.
Brevity is a soul of wit.
It stands on its own. I put it where it is, and to me, it's fine. It needs no basically explanation.
It's a Chili Palmer move. If I have to explain it,
then
it's not that important.
Precisely.
All right, go ahead.
So he says DeVito and Arnold have a great chemistry in this comedy. The scene where he is teaching Arnold to drive is great and ends with a quote that I use almost daily: "Nobody likes a smartass."
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at the time when it came out, I didn't like it. I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And now, upon seeing it as an adult, look, it's not the best comedy in the world,
Right.
but it succeeds in a lot of ways. And the fact, if you look at it for Arnold, it makes sense because he'd only kind of played a lot of the same before, so this is just a little bit of a role reversal for him.
Right.
But now looking at it, it adds to kind of the overall complexity of his career, and I appreciate that. And it is a good, one gets all the genetic goods, so to speak, and the other, the fact that DeVito is willing to put himself in that role, it's a good movie.
Yeah, agreed. I enjoyed it. It's still fun to go back to and watch. And then it's a young Kelly Preston as well. And Chloe Webb, who kind of had a few films around this time. And then like Sid and Nancy, she was Nancy in Sid and Nancy.
Okay.
She was in that film with Denzel Washington and Bob Hoskins, Heart Condition. And then this film, but then kind of filtered out. So
who knows?
It's unfortunate. Yeah,
maybe she just didn't want to do it as much anymore.
Maybe. She's definitely an unusual looking actress, so she was memorable in that way, and certainly was a good love interest for Danny DeVito in the movie. All right, that's the number.
That's my 5. What you got?
Man on the Moon is my number 5, or is Drake's number 5 rather?
Oh, not on his list.
What?
Listen, take it up with Jason. Don't take it up with me.
Yeah, fair enough. Jason, what the hell are you talking about? Have you not seen Man on the Moon? This is an incredible film where Jim Carrey plays Andy Kaufman and Danny DeVito is playing George.
He plays his manager, Shapiro?
George Shapiro, right. Great stuff. And there's some beautiful acting moments between Danny and Jim Carrey that are really vulnerable and fantastic.
Well, the thing is, DeVito in some ways gets to say some things to Andy that he never could.
Right.
Because he's coming back and now...
Right.
It's when you know it... Because I didn't live through Taxi.
Oh, I did. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Okay.
So the whole... I only knew Andy Kaufman years later.
Right on.
And by that point, he was already kind of this weird hyperbole of himself.
Yeah.
On some level, at least as far as the public's understanding of him was.
Yeah.
So he wasn't huge. He didn't loom as large in my life until I got older and found out how many people revered him and whatnot. So you go back and re-examine. Now, he was never my cup of tea, but it's still interesting. Someone makes these choices.
He's a performance comedian, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's performance art.
Yeah.
So you either buy into it or you don't. And I think some of the satire's actually really good.
Yeah.
When he does his late night talk show thing, whatever. I think they allude to it in this, but his desk is so much higher.
Yeah.
When I heard about that joke, and now like the best example of that currently, if you've ever seen clips from Colin Cowherd, his little space station desk is 2 feet taller than his guests. So his guests are looking up at him at all times. Now, granted, it's a radio show, but they still tape this shit.
Yeah, they do. And they sink into the couch. So that adds another foot to which they're lower to
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd. Yeah.
It's the most jarring thing. And then his co-pilot, is off in the other corner,
Right.
higher than the guest, but not as high as Colin.
It's a weird setup.
It is.
because the couch is so long, and the second or whatever the person is all the way over there from Colin. It's just interesting setup. Yeah, very much Colin on his own and above everyone else.
It is.
It's an interesting ego. Yeah, but good film. All right, which number?
4 is The Rainmaker.
That's a punt.
Oh,
You can
wow.
believe it. Yeah.
Okay.
My number 4 is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That is Jason's number 3.
Wow, there we go. Good film.
What brevity once again?
Yes, brevity. There's no explanation.
Old Jason here writes,
Yeah.
classic film.
Yes.
DeVito's portrayal of a martini is great. The hit me, quote unquote, scene playing cards and the Monopoly scene are great work from DeVito.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw reruns of Taxi, but DeVito was already a part of my life through movies.
Oh, right.
And then to go back and see that, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, didn't this pretty much put him on the map along with a few other people?
Christopher Lloyd's in this film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of young, interesting.
Brad Dourif, who plays the
Okay.
kid. Yeah, certainly. A lot of people in this film.
And going back and seeing it years later, it's like, oh, wow, he had, presence even then.
Yeah, certainly a noticeable guy.
Yeah, he is.
And I think a lot of people in that film came off the stage in New York. and
Makes
were
sense.
Used by the producers there, which Michael Douglas produced this film because he was originally in line to play the Jack Nicholson character, but then stepped aside to have Jack do it, and then went to it and won an Oscar. He won an Oscar as a producer of the film. Guy's in his fucking early 30s winning an Oscar as a producer of a Best Picture winner. Incredible.
I mean, in your defense, I guess, so to speak, or all of our defense, saying that he achieved so much so soon, he did have advantages that the average person doesn't have.
That's fair.
I'm not taking away from the talent, but he was given an opportunity much quicker than somebody else who could be just as talented.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas, sure.
Yeah, you got your father who actually willed a couple of amazing movies into existence.
True.
But one in particular.
True.
I mean, Spartacus that is through sheer force of chin.
That's the
that
chin
thing got fucking
slamming.
made.
Yeah.
That is a guy that Jilly Palmer wishes he was Kirk Douglas. When Kirk Douglas was at his height, when they go back and do those like in Trumbo, and you see
Oh, yeah.
Douglas in that and whatnot, and how much he's pushing, and just like, I don't give a damn, I want this. And people are like, Kirk Douglas wants this. And it's just through sheer force of will.
Yeah, he makes it happen.
But DeVito is great in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
those listening, you haven't seen it, it's definitely one of those ones where go back and at least watch it once.
It's Snyder's favorite film.
Is it?
Yeah. It makes sense. Snyder belongs in an asylum, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
That was my 3. So what do you got?
So you had your 4 already? Did we do your 4 already?
It's a punt for you.
Okay, right. All right, so 3 is LA Confidential on this list.
That's a punt.
Wow, okay.
This is easy. So 2 is a punt from your list earlier, Hercules.
Okay.
Brevity is the day.
Yeah, like I said.
All right, easy enough. Then Jason wrote, perhaps one of the more underrated Disney films, depending on who you talk to, but DeVito is the lifeblood of this movie. He conveys strength, encouragement, anger, and a deep care for Hercules in this voice performance as Phil.
Yeah.
It's one where I wish it had come out for me when I was younger because it's just fun.
It is great. I love it. That and Tarzan, Hercules and Tarzan are 2 that I defend to the end.
Okay.
And I know people love Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all that. But for me, it's those 2 films. And Aladdin. Those 3 films are the ones that I love the most out of that Disney time, that Renaissance or whatever.
Yeah.
They just appeal to me more than any other. And Hercules is just great. His journey, it's fun. The mythology of it all, Greek mythology, all of it is great. And Tarzan as well, with this, the romance he goes on, the whole thing about the apes and the connection with his father and Lance Hendrickson's voiceover work. So all of it just works for me on so many levels. And and Hercules being one of them. And Danny DeVito's voiceover work is so great, and the character they've drawn really, it's like you just feel like you're watching Danny DeVito.
You do.
In
As
animated
a
form.
satyr?
Yeah, satyr, right, exactly. Phil. And then what he, even the lewd things he does at certain moments, it's played for laughs and playful.
Yeah.
So it never crosses that line.
Well, I mean, my recollection is that character also likes to drink.
Yes.
In Greek mythology. And sometimes is playing, one of those harps.
Yeah.
or has a flute.
Yeah.
This thing it's around a lot of merriment.
Yes, true.
So if it gets into like slightly raunchier jokes, and be like, well, booze does that.
Yeah, it does. It loosens you up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
No lie there.
To sometimes a really big degree. Even the representation of Hades in this, I think, is utterly fantastic.
Yep.
And James Woods just giving a stellar performance. Great voice acting all around.
My hair out?
Quality. I wish I had, because I went back. It wasn't during an era of I wasn't watching as much Disney, which comes up on this upcoming Tuesday show when we're talking about animation.
Yes.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
No worries.
So this pocket of when I stopped watching. So like this, Pocahontas, Tarzan.
Right.
There's a whole slew from this era that I had to go back and see.
Hunchback.
Hunchback I didn't see in the theater. There's numerous from this era.
Yeah.
And now I cherry pick, but this is one that I genuinely enjoy.
Yep.
Whereas Tarzan doesn't work as well for me.
Okay.
And neither does Hunchback's okay.
Yeah.
Pocahontas I find boring.
Yeah, I don't like Pocahontas.
No,
I want
boring.
to like it.
Sure.
But I don't.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, sure. I like Mulan. Mulan works for me.
Mulan's really good.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. That's another one which I'd grown up with because tons of fun in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, where we at? What do you got?
That was my 2. What's your 2?
Batman Returns.
Okay, my punt from earlier.
Yeah. Number 2. Danny DeVito's the Penguin in this thing.
That he is. Yeah. Jason said, I enjoy this film more than the 89 Batman. Wow. Okay.
I agree with you.
But one gives you the world. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's all I'm saying. I really enjoyed DeVito as the Penguin, despite the weird verbal tick he had. The scene when he shoots the clock after suggesting that killing sleeping children is out of line shows the true mania he possesses as Penguin. And that death scene.
Oh, yeah, the death scene's really...
It's weird.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting's a nice way to put it.
Getting dragged by the penguins.
By the other
into
penguins.
water,
Basically, it's like Captain Kirk. Or no, pardon me, Spock, when they put him in the torpedo.
Right.
And they're sending him slowly down in between, and they're all saluting as he goes past. It's that.
Yeah.
In essence.
One misses the days of exploding penguins, Master Bruce. I like this a lot. He's not the standout. Obviously, it's Michelle Pfeiffer for me of the two, but he has some great lines. You little minx, you send out all the signals. I'd have you spayed. All of that. He is certainly the villain of the piece, but he's a villain born out of banishment from society.
Yeah.
So it's a villain you can understand why. And
the same society created Batman and Penguin.
Right, exactly. Yeah, great points.
Yeah, it's
Great
kind of
points.
fucked up society.
Yeah.
Even though you do get Batman's this great symbol, but at the same time, it is a vigilante.
Yeah.
That's going around and just, knocking heads.
Yeah, doing what it wants to do.
Yeah.
All right, that was number 2 for me. Do we do your 2 already?
My 2. So my number 1 is LA Confidential, punt from you.
Yeah, okay.
And wow, so the other punt is wow.
If you can believe it.
And he says, for number 1, for LA Confidential,
Great film.
while DeVito may not be the first or even 4th or 5th name that you think of when you get to this movie,
True.
I would argue he is the most important person in the film. He is working so much in the background and plays just the perfect version of pure sleaze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like he's essentially the first
TMZ.
TMZ taking the pictures. And I like his voiceover work when he's doing those stories and stuff like that. When you hear him in the background or when they're showing scenes and he's doing the voiceover for them, doing that whole, spotlight Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That all kind of stuff. Really great. But then the scene when he's getting beat up by James Cromwell, you start to feel so much sympathy for the guy because the guy is just a huckster trying to make a living.
Yeah, he's just trying to scam a buck.
Yeah.
He got into this business because Hollywood hadn't been around long enough, so this business didn't exist until he did it on some level.
Right.
He could be the first.
Tabloid photographer, yeah.
Yeah, and that existed, and you now
Sure.
are blackmailing studio execs and all that. They've used this in other Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right.
Has this same plot device. The Player.
Oh, The
has,
Player, right.
This plot device,
Yeah.
through different means, but it's his part is small in this, and he probably is the 5th to 6th person you do get down the list, because after you do Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe and Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
And they just kind of move right down the line of, oh, yeah, and then Danny DeVito is the muckraker.
Right.
Although he's not using it for good, but...
You have Spacey, you have James Cromwell,
Yep.
you have all those guys throughout. David Strathern. And then you end up with DeVito there near the bottom of the pile. Yeah, exactly. And all that happens with him. So, yeah, good stuff. All right. I have Rainmaker as the number 1, which is your punt from what numbers?
Number 4.
Wow. Well, still 4. That's a pretty.
It is.
It's pretty high. I wouldn't put Rainmaker in my top 5 of Danny DeVito films. So this is. I got to give a lot of respect to Drake and Jason for putting it that high on their lists. This is Drake's number 1. This is a John Grisham book, based on a John Grisham book, rather. Matt Damon. This is a young Matt Damon who's still figuring out how to be a lead in movies.
He's getting a shot.
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola. This is the most unusual Francis Ford Coppola directed movie because it's just such a simply directed movie.
It is. It's straightforward.
It's straight. It has no Coppola signatures on it at all, and it's just a straightforward movie about one man trying to help this young girl in Claire Danes escape a abusive relationship, physically abusive relationship, but also trying to take on this large insurance company that is screwing over this family who lost their son to this insurance situation. So he's fighting on 2 fronts here. And it's actually a really good film that I enjoy thoroughly. And Danny DeVito is great as his assistant, who, of course, is underneath Mickey Rourke, who runs the whole law agency. But he's there. And the banter between him and Matt Damon, there's some great, well-written scenes between those guys. Yeah.
Well, I mean, DeVito's there as a grinder.
Yeah.
This case is just like, all right, we'll get it here, and then they'll settle out of court, and we move on.
Right.
And then
It's
Damon,
just numbers to him.
It is. But, I mean, Damon, he kind of opened his eyes to the reason that you can get into this business, to stand up for the little guy, to get the law to, work for you.
Yeah.
And Jason said, I am a sucker for Grisham novels turned into films, and this one was no exception. This may be my favorite performance of DeVito at his number 4.
Wow.
He is sort of a Robin Hood doing unethical things for ethical reasons, and his back and forth with Matt Damon and his role in the story keep me watching this movie at least once per year. Wow. Go back to it that often. I mean, I went back and watched it like 2 years ago, just out of nowhere. I was like, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
I agree.
All right. Well, there we go.
All right. Do we put these together?
We do.
All right. So
We got to figure out, so what do we have closest highest?
I think LA Confidential
1, what? Where did you have
3. So I
Yeah.
think that's first. And then Rainmaker, right? Because it's 1-4,
that? I would have to assume.
right? Because Batman Returns is where on your list?
6.
Yeah, 2-6.
Hercules, where do you have that?
9.
Yeah, Rainmaker it is.
Okay.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so I got Hercules 2, you said 9?
Yeah.
Where do you got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
4.
One Flew goes next. Wow.
I have LA Confidential at 3, right? We put that
Yeah.
up there. Oh, Batman Returns is 2 on mine.
Yeah, that's 6. If we
Okay.
have 3, 4 for One Flew Over.
Yeah. So then Batman Returns at 2-6 or something else?
2, yeah, I would say, because you have Hercules so low.
Yeah.
All right, so then 2, 9. Does anything trump that?
I have Man on the Moon at 5.
Don't have it.
Matilda is 6.
Nah, I think Hercules. I have
Okay.
Matilda, but it's just as low.
All right. 2-9 makes sense. It elevates the number.
Did you have Twins? I have that at 5.
I have 7. Yeah, I have it at 7.
Well, I would say that. Where'd you have Matilda?
6.
Get Shorty.
8.
All right, so I think it goes Twins, Matilda, Get Shorty.
Okay. Where are we at now?
Final one. What's your highest?
Man on the Moon, number 5 is left. We do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah.
That okay, 5 is Man on the Moon. That's the
All right,
last one.
that makes it.
Oh, boom. All right. All right, let's get ready here. The top 10 Danny DeVito movies on the re-list. Yeah.
There come the bongos.
Yeah, let's get this happening.
On the re-list. Re-list.
At number 10.
Man on the Moon.
At number 9.
Get Shorty.
At number 8.
Matilda.
At number 7.
Twins.
At number 6.
Hercules.
At number 5.
Batman Returns.
At number 4.
I'm sorry, Hercules was 5.
Okay.
Let's do that again.
All right, where are we going? At number 5.
Hercules.
At number 4.
Batman Returns.
At number 3.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Coming in the deuce spot.
The Rainmaker.
And our number 1 Danny DeVito movie on the relist is
L.A. Confidential.
Bum, bum.
Our thanks to Mr. Ashley Prowse for choosing it, and he also sneakily threw in his list.
He did. Should we run him down real quick?
He did.
We don't advise that you do this.
No, but we'll let this one slide
We'll let
past.
this one slide. Number 10, Mars Attacks.
9 is Hercules.
8, Get Shorty.
7 is Space Jam.
6, LA Confidential.
5, Man on the Moon.
4, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
3, Twins.
2, Batman Returns.
Finally, number 1 is Matilda.
What? Matilda, number 1.
Yeah.
Maybe we should watch this movie, Matt. Are we missing out on this great performance from Danny DeVito?
I'm guessing he was 10 years old when he saw it.
Fair enough. That's
Or
a good
read the
point.
book and then saw it at that age. Like it captures a certain mystery that only childhood can possess.
Fair enough. There we go.
Yeah, our thanks to all 3 of you. Thank you, Mr. Ashley Prowse.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Jason Bradshaw. And thank you, Mr. Drake Fromsdorf.
Drake Fromsdorf. If you guys want to be part of the relist or be in consideration for it, you can join it on the Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/the top 10, the number 10 there. And you can see the tiers that get qualified for the relist, which is what, $10 and up or $5 and up for relist?
Relist is 20 and up.
$20 and up. Sorry, $20 and up. You can donate and be part of it. We read your list out and we compile it. It's a lot of fun. But see all the different tiers that we have to support the show and get us going so we can do more and more content and come to your hometown as well.
Yeah, and in that tier, you get the exclusive Patreon content and the old shows that come out every Wednesday, and a shout out at the end of the month, and everything that comes with the exception of choosing a topic for the show.
Right.
So you get access to everything.
That's the boss hog level. That's higher up, yeah.
So I think that's it for
Okay.
us this week. Go to facebook.com, facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10. Follow me online at Matt Nost, anywhere you can.
Yeah, follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And keep your eye out for more and more content that we're kind of generating for you all. And don't forget about Topic Thunder. We might have a Q&A coming up soon. All kinds of stuff. So thanks, everybody, for listening this week. This has been The Relist.